achieve. Because I do the things I should, to my brethren, kind and good. So I'll keep moving on. I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. That I will achieve, because I do the things I should, to my brethren, kind and good. So I'll keep moving on. I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. That I will achieve, because I do the things I should, to my brethren, kind and good. So I'll keep moving on. I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on to reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on. I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on. I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on. it up somehow.
Okay, my Straight Talk family, you hear that theme song, you know it's time for another edition of Straight Talk. And I must apologize, I really wanted to start 8 o'clock on the dot tonight, but that's my fault. Forgive me. I'm sorry. And I want to, as well, while I remember, extend condolences to all those who have lost loved ones in St. Kitts and Nevis. And we've also heard of the passing of the former Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, Celeste Liburd. I think he was 19. And the people, government and people of Antigua and Barbuda, we extend our condolences right here on Straight Talk. I must also apologize. I must also apologize to my many constituents who look forward to our in-person meeting. Yes, our in-person meeting on the Rock. But unfortunately, last week, due to circumstances beyond my control, my job commitments, along with flight difficulties, I had to scurry back to base here in New York. Yes, I was in medical jail for 3.5 days. That was fun, but I promise you that you'll see me soon. So Jasmine, Boy Blue, Kelly, Yvonne, Miss Eddie, Miss Brown, my lady Brown over there in Taylor's, Rosa, Nurse Daniel, Delcia, Gatto, Sparrow and his clan, Trini, Bungo, Grain of Salt, Sonny Nolan, and I can spend all night naming my East Bastia posse. Don't forget my executive, Karen, Alwali, Chantel, Sharez, Keisha, Bunny, and the whole crew. But I can spend all night naming my East Bastia posse, and chances are I will run into trouble because I will forget to call all the names. So let me say to all my fellow constituents in East Bastia and all my supporters in St. Kitts and Nevis, I'm sorry for the change in plans on the weekend, but I look forward to seeing you very soon. Take my word. But as I drove around Basseterre, I felt disappointed that the traffic signals are not yet commissioned. And when I looked at the Bird Rock Junction in particular, and the unfinished infrastructure works there, I was saddened to learn of the impediment to the progress in that particular area. Traffic is increasing in St. Kitts Nevis and all over the world for that matter. So we have to continuously improve our infrastructure, which means that we would have to upgrade and widen our roads where possible. Some roads in Basseterre will soon have to accommodate only one-way traffic. And of course, I anticipate that more traffic lights will have to be commissioned in other parts of the island. And my Stray Dog family, I even felt more saddened. I felt more sad, though, to witness the 24 apartments on Wellington Road still locked down when so many families in East Bastia need a shelter, need some place to call their home. There is absolutely no reason that entire Wellington Road project has not been built out to date and distributed to 60 families in East Basseterre, as I promised before being elected to office. All the tenants for the 24 completed condos were already interviewed before I limited office. And the former NHC chairman, who I understand is now the special advisor in housing, and I believe as a matter of courtesy, the people of East Bastia about these houses and all housing period, but the people of East Bastia helped to pay his salary as a public officer. Be quiet on this matter for a long time, even though I am quite familiar with the genesis of this grant-funded housing project, which was agreed to way back in 2015 with the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, at the same time with the grant-funded monies for the outstanding severance payments for sugar workers short paid by the previous administration. And I was there. I believe it was the first bilateral meeting attended by the Prime Minister Harris, and he met with the President of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, President Maduro. On a subsequent program, as part of my public service, I will speak about housing generally, and in particular the housing project in East Bastia at Wellington Road. Again, I can only ask the former chairman of the People's Action Movement and the former chairman of the National Housing Corporation, and now the special advisor in housing, to at least demonstrate some accountability to the people of East Bastia and by extension the country, and let us know what is happening with that project on the Wellington Road, why for over a year 24 units have been completed, but yet nobody has been allocated a home when they need a home. Having made a fleeting trip to my homeland, a fleeting trip, I should say, to my homeland, I was duty-bound to report briefly on those two important subject matters in my constituency. Tonight, though, I also want to raise another troubling development in our region. And you would recall that about 1 month ago, the Caribbean was shocked by a reprehensible act which culminated in the killing of a president. Remember, we all learned of the brutal assassination of Haitian President Jovenel Moïse and the serious wounding of First Lady Moïse. We in the Caribbean are not familiar with physical attacks on our countries or on our country's leaders, whether with guns or ammunition, although we in St. Kitts Nevis are familiar with the attempted overthrow of a government, or what is still labeled today as the Anguilla invasion of 1967. Many of us would recall that dark moment in our political history when bottles and stones rained down on government headquarters in Church Street in 1993, to which a leader subsequently confessed to be an overthrow. Remember, that leader had this to say.
We have been in government for the last 17 years. After being able to overthrow a 15-year opposition regime.
After being able to overthrow a 15-year-old regime. But just a few days ago, in another Caribbean island, in an island called St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we learned of the aggravated, malicious wounding of Comrade Ralph Gonzalez, the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But thank God that the 70-year-old leader, 74-year-old leader, I should say, is still alive today. The Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Mottley, must also be commended for expeditiously reaching out to Comrade Ralph and airlifting him to Barbados for an MRI and subsequent treatment. I can only hope, my family, that what has happened to President Moïse and to Prime Minister Ralph Gonzalez a few days ago is not something new creeping into our Caribbean politics. I trust and hope, again, it's not something new creeping into Caribbean politics.
The person who threw the object at me, the projectile, that it hit me in my head, at the top of the head. It could easily have come, as the doctors tell me, lower down to the temple, and where there could have been immediately far more serious damage. When you throw a stone or some other projectile at someone with the intention to hit them in their head, and given the delicate nature of one's head, you have in mind the intention to kill. You have the intention to cause serious bodily harm.
An intention to kill and cause seriously bodily harm. As I did before, I must reiterate that nothing can justify what we must consider as acts of inhumanity, which we all must condemn if we are going to avoid the collapse of civilization in the Caribbean and or any part of the world for that matter. And what happened to Prime Minister Gonzalez uncovered the hypocrisy of the opposition here in St. Kitts and Nevis. there in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and elsewhere in the Caribbean in respect of our COVID-19 recovery efforts. No politician invented the pandemic, but every political opposition wants to blame the incumbent government for the virus. We know the opposition leader in St. Kitts Nevis may have taken his 2 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine, though he says otherwise. But it was the same thing he did when confronted with the Dominica passport issue. I'm sure we remember when he was confronted with the passport issue, the Dominican passport issue. I'm sure you remember when he said this.
Dr. Harris, it would appear, because people are quoting him, saying that I have a citizenship for Dominica. I want to say now, I give him 48 hours to retract his statement and to apologize. If he does not, I will then pass the information to my lawyers for them to institute what I believe should be a defamation lawsuit against Dr. Harris. 48 hours I give him.
You remember that? I'm sure you remember that very well. When he said, when caught.
The number of passports I have, that's my business.
When he was caught, he backed up and he said this.
What else can I say?
So we're not going to say we have 1 or 2.
The number I have is my business.
When he was caught, he said
The number of passports I have, that's my business.
The number of passports he had was his business. And we know what happened. The Eastern Caribbean Court of Appeal ruled that he was guilty and made him vacate his seat in Parliament. But today, it's the leader of the main opposition in St. Vincent and the Grenadines of the New Democratic Party, NDP, Dr. Godwin Friday, who is also being as hypocritical as Douglas and immoral on the questions of vaccines. The first thing the leader of the opposition does, he concedes that COVID-19 is the biggest problem in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. These are not my words, these are his.
We do have a problem with respect to COVID. Let's not minimize that. COVID-19 is the biggest problem we have in the country because it affects life, threatens life, affects health. Long COVID is a problem because it's not just a matter that you don't die, but you still can have long-term effects. But it also affects the economy, you know? But because we have a problem doesn't mean that any solution is the right solution. What they're suggesting is the wrong solution because people are just going to stand up and resist it, and it's not going to work because I don't believe as well that as a matter of fundamental rights that you can force somebody to put something into their body.
But the second thing Dr. Friday reveals was that for his own personal reasons and because he thinks that it is good for the country overall, he and his family have taken the vaccine, and he recommends that other people should do likewise. He said that.
As the leader of the opposition, I have, for my own personal reasons and because I think it's good for the country overall, been vaccinated, and so is my family. And everybody knows that that is my position. I have come to that decision based on the information that I have researched and so forth, and I recommend other people do similarly.
But if he recommends that other people should take the vaccine, why has he mobilizes people on the streets, unvaccinated, and throwing a stone to kill the Prime Minister? This is what I've been talking about for months. The hypocrisy and immorality of those who aspire to leadership here in St. Kitts and abroad. Right here in St. Kitts and in other parts within the Caribbean, the opposition to vaccination often reflects an obsession with liberty. And yes, in some cases, freedom from intrusive state mandates. Although, in the case of St. Kitts Nevis, there is a significant minority of persons, and I dare say, well-educated persons, because we are a highly literate people. There is a significant minority of persons who are opting out of vaccines. And yes, you may say, they have a right. But look at what happens to us. Just in the last 24 hours, 6 more confirmed cases, bringing the total number of cases to 620 cases. Remember, between March last year and May this year, we only had 45 cases. 45 cases. So you've had 575 cases between May the 19th, I think it was, and today, August the 8th. Just about 60 days. Don't take my word. Mathematics is my strongest weak point. But happily, some 568 of those cases have recovered. And we only have 49 cases. The number in Nevis has crept up to 22 quite easily. But what is important though, our vaccination drive is proving results, irrespective of the anti-vax brigade and those who are preaching procrastination, choice. But good news, 72.5% of our targeted population has received their first dose. That's good news. And 60.5% of the targeted population has received their second dose. So 61% and 73% respectively. Let's bring it to the nearest. And that's good news. Those between the up 18 years and over have received their second dose and first dose respectively. And that is good news. It's good news because when I come home, I don't want to go in no quarantine, do you? No. We are vaccinated, so let's all get protected. Now mark you, there are valid points being raised by civil libertarians, one of which is that the vaccines are not fully approved. And secondly, people's right to individual privacy in medical matters are protected. So people should not be asked if they are vaccinated or required to show proof of vaccination. I haven't found that piece of legislation in St. Kitts Nevis laws. But I know the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, HIPAA, here in the US, stipulates that. But while it is true that the vaccines have not yet been fully approved, the evidence is abundantly clear that vaccines are effective in suppressing the spread of the pandemic and improving the general welfare of all of us in St. Kitts and Nevis. Furthermore, where any legislation intended to provide an array of rights with respect to that information, it was, however, intended to relieve disease-carrying individuals. It was not, I should say, intended to relieve disease-carried individuals from their responsibility to the greater or wider community, or to prohibit society from protecting itself. How can you just walk away with your disease, walk around with your disease, and say you have a right? So for these reasons, the notion of setting aside certain civil liberties when rights are in conflict is widely recognized and accepted both legally and morally. For example, your right to free speech does not, underline, does not give you the right to yell fire, fire in a crowded cinema, does it? Of course not, my family. Your right to throw a punch like Bumpy, the good boxer, or like Mighty Hunks. Your right to throw a punch ends just short of the tip of my nose. You can't box me in your face as you like because you could throw punches. Having said all of the above, there are people among us who believe that it is their right to remain unvaccinated and roam all about all the streets without wearing a mask. They have demonstrated their commitment to resist appeals to reason and a better nature. They do so even in the face of a COVID surge that is still raging in our country and beyond, almost exclusively among the unvaccinated. The COVID-19 measures in response to the pandemic, such as stay-at-home orders or lockdowns as we call them, mandatory closures of businesses and houses of worship, churches, all mask mandates have evoked vocal opposition by some individuals who feel that these measures infringe on their freedom. But I looked at the study in the American Journal of Infection Control, and the overall community infection rate declined by about 58% in 42 US states. This evidence suggests that these types of public health actions have been effective in reducing the COVID-19 infection rate. And yes, they do constrain individual autonomy. Nevertheless, the COVID-19 measures employed are, generally speaking, constitutional under existing US Supreme Court precedent. They are also ethical when implemented properly. For example, including, where necessary, with complementary measures to ensure equity and justice. The US Supreme Court decision in the case Jacobson versus Massachusetts stipulated that while the spirit of the Constitution is to be respected not less than its letter, the spirit is to be collected chiefly from its words. It further opined that possession and enjoyment of all rights are subject to such reasonable conditions as may be deemed by the governing authority of the country essential to safety, health, peace, good order, and morals of the community. Even liberty itself, the greatest of all rights, is not unrestricted license to act according to one's own will. It is only freedom from restraint under conditions essential to the equal enjoyment of the same right by others. It is then regulated by the law. In the Constitution of Massachusetts, it was laid down as a fundamental principle of the social compact that the whole people covenants with each citizen, and each citizen with the whole people, that is to say, that all shall be governed by certain laws for the common good. And that government is instituted for the common good. Government is instituted for the protection, safety, prosperity, and happiness of the people, and not for the profit, honor, or private interest of any one man, family, or class of men. In our Constitution, of St. Kitts and Nevis, it is envisaged that the provisions governing our fundamental rights and freedoms shall have effect for the purpose of affording protection to those rights and freedoms subject to such limitations of that protection as are contained in those provisions, being limitations designed to ensure that the enjoyment of those rights and freedoms by any person does not impair the rights and freedoms of others or the public interest. Epidemics and pandemics have a long history. Measures such as quarantines, border controls, and limitations on the circulation of citizens have been commonly used to delay the transmission of contagious diseases. The political public is what the society does through the government and public agencies. But a group of people called the opposition in St. Kitts Nevis, like in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, in Antigua and Barbuda, and all over, will remain opposed to or criticize continuously the government or political party in power. And that's what the opposition like to say they are elected to oppose. But it must be constructive. And instead of acting responsibly and educating their own supporters, they incite them to commit rather criminal acts against a head of government. That, I say, is sad.
The person who threw the object at me, the projectile, that it hit me in my head, at the top of the head. It could easily have come, as the doctors tell me, lower down to the temple, and where there could have been immediately far more serious damage. When you throw a stone or some other projectile at someone with the intention to hit them in their head, and given the delicate nature of one's head, you have in mind the intention to kill. You have the intention to cause serious bodily harm.
Intention to kill and cause serious bodily harm. I saw something on social media about some people in St. Kitts and Nevis and protesting for their rights. And they have their rights protected. Their fundamental rights and freedoms are protected by our Constitution. But tonight, I want to say to Commissioner of Police Brandy, there's an old adage that is well known to all and sundry, and I'm sure you do, those in my listening and viewing audience. The old adage which says, when your neighbor's house is on fire, you better wet yours. That is my story for tonight, and I am locked into it. At 8:41, I'm going to open the lines. I will tarry no more. I'll entertain your calls and your emails. May I just remind you, I forgot to remind you from the beginning, and I don't know if I really hailed my fellow citizens in the diaspora, those on the World Wide Web. Forgive me, I don't believe I did. Forgive my bad manners. But I know that some of you are in Africa, some of you in Asia, some of you are in Europe, and some of you are all over North America. So I can say good morning, good afternoon, and or good evening. And to remind you that Straight Talk is a public service program, and we are a participative program as well. By that I mean We include your calls, we include your emails, and I'll do so any moment now. The numbers are 465-2555 and or 718-277-2916 is 277-577-2916. Email address is I am Liburd or ZIZ straight talk at gmail.com. The lines are going, but still I must remind all, they must respect others. And of course, to achieve that, they must first respect themselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned. Let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let us ensure that things we say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned. And in doing and saying those things, let us try to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. With that said, I go to the lines and say, caller, you are live.
A most pleasant good night to you, Mr. Liburd. How are you doing?
I am peaceful, yourself?
Yes, okay. Let me say a pleasant good night to you and continue to keep up the good work. Also, let me say good night to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. I'm just asking you all to do what you all have to do. Just take aid, do what you all have to do. We're in the Virgin Islands right now. We don't really know whether we're going or we're coming because the governor don't want to do any shutdown, but he has to do what he has to do. We just had 2 deaths yesterday. I think it's Saturday. We had 2 more deaths. So please, the people of Federation and St. Kitts and Nevis, please do what you all have to do. Also, let me take this opportunity, Mr. Liburd, to say condolences goes out to the family of my loving teacher. I remember Mr. Kelly. He was such a quiet gentleman in junior high school. I just want to say condolences go to his loving wife, Sandra, and to the entire family of Teacher Kelly. Robert Lee, may his soul rest in peace and rise. May God continue to look over his wife and the rest of his family, and I pray that they will carry on his legacy in all what he did for the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, and also the university that he taught in New York for about 2 years. So to say that tonight, let me say hello to all my friends and loved ones in St. Kitts and Nevis. I love you all. Take care. I love you. This is coming Patricia Lewis in the Virgin Islands. Love you. God bless you all. God bless you, Mr. Liburd.
God bless you, my warrior from the east. Let's go back to the lines. Call you live.
That is good night.
Good night, Mr. Politics.
That is, I must thank God for St. Kitts and Nevis. And thank God for this unity government. And this is something I always praise and endorse, because it's very important to have unity. No one perfect. And we know some script and some slide will come along. But under this pandemic, I believe this government is doing a wonderful job. And we got to keep it up. And we are got to go by the protocol and just try to stay safe and do what we are got to do as citizens of this country. And we're not out in the outer world when we hear can the BBC News, can different radio talk shows, can social media, what's going on out there in the world with this deadly COVID. Such as, I know that no one is perfect and nothing is perfect. But that is if the vaccine is to prevent us from dying, to prevent us from the COVID to take over our body and kill us. I do believe that people should go out and take the vaccine as long as the body to take it. That is, I'm not agree with the government, no institution to force somebody to take the vaccine. If they want to take the vaccine, they take the vaccine. But if the institution are the companies them got the rules and the laws that they ain't want you and the compound or the job because to take the vaccine. Well, that is a situation for the worker and the company. You understand? Because such as you hear the ignorance going on because this happening in Antigua, this happening in St. Vincent, this happening in Barbados, and further. People saying kind of negative things. But I believe that the people of this federation of things to do with them move on from 1993 with the political ignorance, and people see what the unity government had to offer to the people of this country. We say that we are 98% literate, and I believe that the people will show where the country is really 98% literate. Because so much education there, so much schools there now. You get education from kindergarten come up. And such as I just want to commend the government, the unity government, and the task force to continue to do what they got to do to keep the country safe. Because the Federation of Things and Nevis, that is how somebody gets to charge. I'll come back.
Thank you very much for your input. And yes, you're so correct. Company has its policies. That's their policy. Let's go back to the lines. Call you live.
Mr. Liburd, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
I missed you this week in St. Kitts, but first and foremost, I must tell you, they don't want to give you credit for those amendments in your constituency. They're done with you. Mr. Liburd, go and run independently. You can beat them. I vex with you too, Mr. Liburd. You were supposed to pass by me. On Thursday, you sent a message to me. You didn't come. You Donald me. You ducked me. You ducked me. I know you know what I want to talk to you about. I want to talk to you about Remus Cairns in Nevis. Up to now, nobody tried how to kill him. Mr. Remus Cairns in Nevis. Nobody find out to kill him yet. You hear anything about it?
When was he killed?
A couple of years ago, up there in Mount Pele area, they find him outside a man's place.
Oh?
Yeah. And everybody's stuck in Nevis about it, you know. But it coming to the forefront, the police looking into the matter again. Yes.
Where you got your information from? Because what year was that?
A couple of years ago, Mr. Liburd, you know exactly what I'm talking. Don't dance me around like a yo-yo. You know what I'm talking about.
I see you. No. We don't like. No. On Straight Talk, we bring you facts. So I want to know exactly what you're talking about.
There was a man found dead in the Mount Pele area, shot outside a big house. The police looking into it, I was told this weekend. I had a man at my house waiting to tell you the information, but you lose out.
Well, I hope we'll hear much more of that.
Talking. You don't know about that. Mr. Liburd, you don't want to talk to me. It's all right, you know. I understand that. Because this is a bombshell.
Well, I don't talk from a point of ignorance. So if you have facts, bring the facts.
They said the man was your boss.
A bold statement there.
Yes. It's okay, Mr. Liburd. I'm going to see you again when you come down. And I can bring the man, and he can tell you the whole story, how it went. Good night, Mr. Liburd.
Good night. So,
Good night.
When we come to Straight Talk, we don't talk in parables. Come straight, because it's Straight Talk is what it's called. Call your life.
Good night. And how art thou? Good night,
I am peaceful.
Patrick.
Yourself?
How are you?
Good night. I am peaceful. You?
I'm all right. I see you only went for a stick of fire, as Granny used to say.
That's all
I was looking for you to bring back one for me, but you couldn't because you only had one for yourself. So, anyway.
One for you.
Yeah, it was supposed to bring back a stick of fire for me, but I see you only had enough time to get one for yourself. So, thank you anyway. How are
South
you?
Carolina?
How are you? Huh? Yes, South Carolina. Yes.
Just South Carolina. Got the voice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I see you talking still. How are you thinking?
St. Kitts is doing good in spite of the COVID
I
and
know.
other things, but we understand.
I know. Just
Well,
keep
it's a
the
life
faith.
first
Just
strategy.
keep the faith. Just keep the faith. You keep the faith. They're going to get over it. They're going to get over it. I hear there was demonstration, but they'll get over it. I see you come back. Well, good. A little refreshment. Your face looking refreshed. So,
thank you.
I just called you to tell you that everything will be all right. You don't worry with it. And as I told you already, you got the facts them on them. When they start to get rude, you just calm them down with what the facts. So, have a good night and enjoy the rest of the night. Bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good night as well. Yes, we provide them with the facts. Caller, you're live.
Good evening, Dr. Ian Patrick Liburd. How are you doing?
Your humble servant. I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
You giving me the booby thing, man. The booby. One time the booby gonna dip down your tongue, back, catch spot. And in a matter of seconds, you gonna Irish tongue, back, a dip and catch spot. I thought I was gonna see you.
My sister. I saw my sister, and I gave her my regards for you.
Yeah, I get it. Anyway, let me go your Patrick tonight.
You're doing good.
Yeah. Yes, man. Everything good with me, man. Everything good, I man.
To hear.
Patrick, you realize what you said tonight, you know? Those houses up Wellington Road is over a year now. They've been there sitting down and they egg them. And up to now, the egg them can't hatch. And the caller before the lady there, he said it right. They're doing what they want, what they could do to see how bad they could make you look. You are the man who oversee the plan and who had the vision for the plan, and you follow up on the plan and you build the houses them. The deal, while the houses them up there getting rain and sun and all kind of thing, the people who are supposed to be living in them, they are uncomfortable. But those who in charge, or whosoever is in charge, to make sure that those houses are given out, they're in the house comfortable, no rain wetting them. Well, me and bug biting them, that is the business. But no rain going in the house wetting them down. Well, and they're comfortable. They can move from here, there, and everywhere and sit where they want. But the people who are supposed to go in there cannot go in there. Why over here? Because you ain't in government no more. So they're doing everything still to try to see what if they could make you look bad. Well, badness happened for a while, but not for too long. It's God's rule. Those houses will be given out in the right time. The government have too many square peg in round hole in the government departments. And a lot of those square pegs are what I call 2-foot cash pan with many covers to open. One cash pan got 2 foot with many covers to open. And a 2-foot cash pan is somebody who like more money than a cash register. And they put their finger where they ain't supposed to go. Because every day you could get some kind of complaint from people being pushed around, knocked about, because of somebody who's supervising them, or because they get a job from the government to do. And they don't understand, when they do people wrong things on the job, it reflects the government. So the government has to be careful with who they put in position. Put people in position who like people and who love the work and not who looking out for themselves. Now let me go on the other thing. I saw to hear what happened in St. Vincent with Mr. Gonzalez. But such president that has been set way back from the 67, come up to 1993. Battle and stone leg along Church Street after Dr. Simmons, first Prime Minister. There's where the president, when the president been also set to. And then it triggered off when the Haiti, and it's circling around in the Caribbean. See where you reach St. Vincent. And remember the man who instigated the battle and stone, he boasts and brags and he overthrew a government, only that the battle him never hit Dr. Simmons in the head. So in the Caribbean, everybody just have to watch out, because some people, they're in opposition and they're not opposing what they're supposed to oppose. They're just opposing for the sake of criticizing and hoping that they will get back where they were. But this one here can't happen. I'll come back again, Patrice. I got something for you tonight, you're good. I can come back. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The difficulty I have with that, the opposition leader, like many people here, has his vaccine. He got vaccinated, he and his entire family. And he recommended it. But he's still on the road protesting. Call on your live.
Patches.
Hello.
This
Yes,
is the Major. This
How is the Major?
Happy boy, I'm happy. Happy.
Happy?
Yes, you know you're always happy. Once it's a kitty shot, you have to be happy. No.
Yes, you have to.
Listen to me. I came in about a half an hour ago, and I heard somebody on the radio speaking, and how it sounded to me like effective communication. It seemed as though that he was enlightening you about something, but you say that he must deal with the facts. Now, what I want to say as regards to that, here's it, you got to be a friend of yours, I believe. When you hear another person concerned, look for some of the truth in what he or she is saying, ain't it? Don't defend yourself simply by trying to hear what the other people is communicating. Agree with specific aspects of it. And if you really want to see amazing results, expend on other person's criticism, admit that you are struggling with the problem. Share some additional ways in which you find it difficult. Thank you very much. What do you have to say about that?
Are you familiar with the case?
No, I don't know. I don't know nothing about the case. I was just listening to what I heard they're saying. And I thought that it's a sort of communication. With cases, I don't deal with cases. You know that I will just tell you what I hear and what I think. So when you say to him...
I don't know who the individual is.
Well, I don't know myself. So you're not in the same boat. But I'm just saying, I was just dealing on this thing of effective communication, right?
And you found it was effective?
Well, what he gave, what he sound, what he said, he said he will tell you something else again, I believe. I don't think I don't know.
Okay.
So you take care, right?
Thanks a lot for your input.
Yeah.
Major, or former Major, or Major Jones. Caller, you're live.
Yes. Good evening, I'm smart Patches. You back up the island and you turn up and you're gone. And I'm calling you on the phone and you ain't one answer. But anyway, the house is them up on Wellington Road. The number 8 man gonna give them out, not you. And plus of it, on the radio, people supposed to hear you. Not all don't want people to say what they got to say. You know, you got to know what you're saying on the radio. And looking at Jasmine, I went down the teller, I want some of the barrel where you give. Yeah, she said she don't know you here. So never saw me here. You streak back out and you turn up and you're gone. But I still want the $10,000 out your pocket. So no care where you're gone. Send it back. I
thought you had my telephone number.
What?
I thought you still have a telephone number.
Yes, I called you, but you wouldn't answer.
You call me?
You're too smart, you know.
You sure you didn't call Douglas?
Tell me in you told you was a bad man, you know. But you can't get worse, you know, because you're in a unity shoes. Yes.
You should in Douglas number you're calling?
That has nothing to do with this. When I'm begging, he has to do with this. So when I'm begging, he don't help me too. So I'm begging you know.
Okay.
But tell me about Douglas.
Okay.
Douglas and Douglas, patches are patches. Ian patches Liburd. Idiom. Not Douglas.
That's a big boops, man. That's a big boops.
Yeah. Anyway, let me hold up your car. I want the money back in the post office. So send it in the mail. I'm going to send me address and I'm going to send the telephone number again. So I want everything. See you. Have a good night and take care. Okay. Don't be smart again and come think it's a man to see you. But dear for God, see you.
Okay. Okay, that's my labor friend.
Mr. Liburd.
Big boops. $10,000? Wow. Let's go back to the lines. Call your live.
Mr. Liburd, good night. I remember a labor friend to the top. I remember she lived in Milligan Estate with a gentleman with a set of little children. Whether it was her husband or she fiancé, but she had quite a few children. I swear he used to staple him out when he going out on the street or tape it down. Because when she could talk, she would just watch people like nights out, Monday, Thursday night, weeks after week. I hear she on the phone with you. I swear she couldn't talk when his man bringing up a Milligan Estate with his children, going tongue, gospel and things. She full of chat. Anyway, bless her.
Yeah, she can talk.
I just enjoy it sometimes. Keep up with her, Mr. Liburd.
Yes, he's my friend. He's my good friend from down west. Caller, you're live.
Patches, how you do? This is DuPont.
Carlton, Liburd, Rasta without locks. Everton Juput, are you right?
Yeah, you. This is the same guy. I want to say.
Okay.
I want to say congratulations to you for keeping your show at a very high standard, and I want to thank God for people like Culture, because even though Culture and I back the unity government, we are not dealing with old-time things. If people wrong, we say they're wrong, but we're supporting you. But our support for you don't mean we can't tell you you're wrong. And we will support you by telling you you're wrong calmly in a nice area. But if you don't listen, we come out on you. Edinburgh was doing a show last week on 106.5. And the amount of things that Labour did to Edinburgh, I did not know. Curtis Colleen and Curtis say Edinburgh shouldn't be so clear what he's saying about Labour and the ear. We should talk inside. But Curtis didn't realize that Edinburgh has always been talking inside. Nothing happening. He had to come out. Well, hear this now. Patches, you can give me any idea on your show, or maybe we could talk off here, why those houses in Newtown have been built so long and they have not been given out. Because this is one of the biggest mysteries I've ever seen in this country. I back the unity government. But the square pegs in round hole is what bothering me that Culture spoke about a while ago. And I am home here in the $1 million building, relaxing, giving God praise and thanks, listening all the time. I don't call, but I had to call tonight. I like the way you deal with the man who call and playing tricks about something in Nevis. You don't need to listen to him. Whoever the man is, he need to call me 6610037. What he was telling you on the show is stupidness. He don't have no facts to give you, but he call in on the radio chatting stupidness to you for. And you make me feel good is you make me call. When you say straight talk is straight talk, you got to come with facts. All I want to say to you, I got a lot of respect for you when it comes on politics, because one of the great reasons why we're still friends, you're straight when it comes to these things with politics, and you still did one of the best jobs as a government minister ever in this country. Your one term, equal to 3 and 4 terms for other ministers that serve in your field. I don't want to kick back your program, except to say to you, if you got any idea, please share it with me, because I'm getting angry and I'm going to lash out at this thing on my own program. The house is should have been given out already.
Captain.
Talk to me, Patrice, talk to me.
You are absolutely correct.
Praise the Lord.
There is no justifiable reason that these houses should not have been allocated. There's also no reason why the 60 houses should have been built out. Money is not the problem. So what is the problem? And the former chairman of the NHC and the current special advisor in housing has to be accountable and come to the people who pay his salary and say what's wrong.
Oh, well, I want to thank you for the information you have given me tonight.
Yes.
I'm going to deal with it.
You can contact Valentine Lindsay, who is the former chairman of the NHC.
I'm going to call him, you know.
He's a special advisor in housing.
Yes.
And ask him what is wrong. He must come to the public and tell the public what is wrong.
Well, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to challenge him to come live on my program.
Fine. Very good.
Nice. Well, you have a good evening. I'm going to listen to you till you finish.
Thanks a lot for calling.
Peace
All
and
is
love.
well? Yes. Peace and love. And that's what Straight Dog is all about. 24 houses just locked down and people want homes to live in. There's no reason why they should be closed. Caller, you're live.
Yes, Pastor's live. Good evening, man. How are you?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, I just wanted to chime in a little bit. I want to really commend you the way how you started tonight, because I realized that you did your homework, or you did at least do some homework. And, you know, you referenced a case there, Jacobs versus Massachusetts, I think that was. And, you know, you put forth some facts at the beginning of the show. And I'm actually impressed with that. You know, I don't know if this is the first time you did this, but this is one of the first times I hear you bring in the facts like that, which is commendable.
Thank you, sir.
You know, different than that, man, I just probably want to ask you a quick question. These houses that these people are talking about in St. Kitts, I mean, aren't the government responsible for passing out those houses? You know, I mean, I can't understand, you know, not because the government doesn't have a representative in that area, aren't the government still, you know, leading and, you know, taking the charge and distributing those houses? Why is there a hold up? You know, I mean, can you explain that to the people? I mean, you know, I'll try to come back in later if I have something else, man.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Thanks a lot, sir. The money was made available through the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, $8,000 US, of which $4,000 US was a loan and $4,000 was grant funded. So those houses, 60 houses, will cost NHC $4,000 US. There's no reason why those houses are still locked down today. Caller, you're live.
Good night.
Hello, caller.
You could hear me?
Yes, you sound like Alice in Wonderland.
All the time. How are you?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
That is good. Who is the minister for the port and airport? Up there, not like when you was there. The firing people left, right, and center. And it's people who did not care if the government get there. Nobody vote for them. There is boss and supervisor. They're glad you're not there. And is who you hire since you were there, they're turning away and sending some all over to work. I will always say that's why all of them set you up. They had their plan. They better be careful. They will put them to walk in, walk out. got them in everything, and they know the minister's not looking into nothing. Macknight people talking. They are saying they don't have no representative. If they see how they do you, the lady get back her job, Lord man, she out of all. And it will be like St. Vincent. It's Timothy Harris at the head. Say all they want, they're bad. I hear the people who was to get the house not getting them. That is sad. I tell you already, they're setting you up. I hope the Prime Minister looking into it. Since Friday, there was rejoicing for the Prime Minister. Mr. Liburd, it nearly took me 15 minutes to get in. Not because of people talking, but something gone wrong. See you.
Thank you very much. Well, the Minister with responsibility for Castle is the Honorable Lindsay Fitzpatrick Grant. He is the Minister responsible for the ports. To answer your question. Caller, you live. Hello, caller?
Yes, Packet. Mr. Packet, you leave St. Kitts?
I'm afraid I had to. I was hoping to see you, but I'll see you soon.
All right.
I will see you soon.
No problem. Now, I am going to say something here tonight, you know. I'm going to take my time. And I am going to say something here tonight. In Proverbs chapter, I believe 18, somewhere around there. Death and life are in the power of the tongue.
The tongue, yes.
Now here it is. Galatians chapter 6 and verse 7. God is not mocked. Whatsoever a man soweth, shall he also reap. Hear this again. God called out to Cain and asked him, where is thy brother? Cain turned back to God and said, am I my brother's keeper? Now, a lot of people sometimes come on a station, upon a station, and start to say they're the brother's keeper, only when it fit them. But I am saying this tonight. A lot of people don't know what they must say, huh? When they start to call wolf, and every day of their life, they go on the panic practice station, inside the horse. He started to call wolf. And next fellow who what we really start to call wolf. Mr. Albert, maybe you stop in America and here, when wolf come to them, they're gonna say they can't take it up. And what a man so at that they're going to you see that tongue we're talking about? It is really destroy your own life. You talk it, think you're not supposed to have been talking, and it come back to haunt you. Mr. Liburd, the situation is it. The pot are boiling up. You boil up and it will boil over. You can't plant potato boil and expect to reap yam. And a lot of people in thinking on the opposition side, they are planting wild oats. And I can tell you, a lot of people know, a God rules this whole universe here. And who God set up, the man could pull down. And the Bible told you, you must honor them who in authority. Nobody make it up, a God says so.
And when you go rant and rage and trying to say you commit confusion, confusion is coming back at you. And when you're done, you are going to say, people, are your own handwriting? Mr. Liburd, I am telling you tonight, I didn't see you, all I'm telling you tonight, stay safe in America, stay good, until you come back in St. Kitts. Have a pleasant night. Bye.
Thanks a lot, my brother. That's the Bible man. Yes. Bible. The power of the tongue, as you said. The color, your life.
Hello, my friend.
Caller.
Yeah, Patrick Liburd. Patrick, you can hear me?
Mr. Jam Down.
How are you? I haven't get to see you, but
I am peaceful.
I'm trying out someone out the can, you know.
Turn the radio down. Turn the radio down.
I don't want him to touch that as yet. Because everything will reveal to the eyes of the Newtown people then when the time is right. Patrick, I want to touch two things and then come back for another one. Three I want to touch tonight and come back for another one. Patrick, I want to let the Prime Minister know that a mistake has made with what do call it? The thing there where they got with Rams and them. With Rams and Value Mart. 70% of the money should be going to the market. They should have set it up in a way that the poor people could shop for provision in the market, not just give these people all this money. You understand? We got to get the public to be eating local and get people support the local farmers in the market. That was a perfect opportunity, you know. It's one of the vendors them in the market draw that attention to me, and when I look at it in the market, you see that these people getting these vultures, and all of them rushing in Hartford and Value Mart and Rams. Nothing wrong is giving them, you know, because that ain't supposed to go to no China. I support that, but 70% of the vulture should have spending in the market to these local farmers. That's enough of that. I will see the Prime Minister tomorrow and talk with him. And that. Patches, as Alice said, the Catholic school boys will stop turning away the poor workers at the port. It's not a nice place for the government, and we ain't going to endorse that. That's enough for that. I will be back. Have a good night.
Have a good night, my dear Jam Down. Hey, not a bad suggestion. I mean, you could find modalities to...
Good evening, Honorable.
I think you refer to the stimulus monies. Some of that going to the vendors in the market. That's plausible. Let's go back to the lines. Call your line.
Good evening, Honorable. Now, Patrick, you forget something here. What happened in Grenada almost happened here, you know. Because I can remember a time either Simmons were going in government house or coming out the government house and a man attacked with a machete and hit the police on the hand. You remember that? Because
say that again?
When a time Simmons, Honorable Simmons, the Right Honorable Simmons, the national hero, he was either going into government headquarters or coming out. And somebody attacked, and the police put up his hand and get cut on his hand. You remember that?
Yeah, your count is a little bit flawed.
Flawed?
The young man who... Wait, please. The young man went to government quarters and asked to see the Prime Minister, who was somewhere upstairs, maybe in his office. So he the match at Dr. Simmons.
Yeah.
No, that was not correct. Yeah.
So okay, but he happened though.
Yes, a young man. Yeah. Another young man.
Now, I hear them on the panic factory today. They had a field day. Like, well, something gonna happen here, like what happened in Grenada. But the difference between here and Grenada, the evidence will be in the street laying in blood. So any one of them have the intention to do those kind of things to the Honorable Prime Minister, I think it's a Nevis, and I trust on at him, they'll have something else coming. That's all I have to say for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. But in fact, it was in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Okay. Yeah. Hello?
Person who threw the object at me, the projectile, that it hit me in my head, at the top of the head. It could easily have come, as the doctors tell me, lower down to the temple, and where there could have been immediately far more serious damage. When you throw a stone or some other projectile at someone with the intention to hit them in their head, and given the delicate nature of one's head, you have in mind the intention to kill. You have the intention to cause serious bodily harm.
Yes, caller.
Yeah, Patrick. Okay, this is my second do. I am so happy. Anyway, good night, Captain Liburd Japan, my good friend, and good night, Janet, over there in station. I forget my manners. I am so glad that the Prime Minister stood up in Parliament and he straightened out the propaganda that had been peddled on those radio stations whose purpose is just to see what they could bring down the country verbally. And the next thing they're aiming for is physical, bring down the country and the government, but it can't happen. So I am glad that the Prime Minister stand up and he straighten out that passport business, because the one who wrote it up, it's like he went in the archives of all the old newspaper them be, go dig up to see what he could come out on the radio and make a topic out of, when he knows fully well that his topic is null and void. It has no merit to be aired on the radio. So he come talking, giving people the impression that this unity government is doing bubble with our passport, selling people passport, selling the CBI program passport for money. I want the rat farmer, let the rat farmer talk about the $1 million, what Bragadam say he pay as an ambassador for the passport. Why should an ambassador pay $1 million for a passport? An ambassador ain't have to pay for no passport. That's supposed to be given to him for his position. And he's an ambassador, he don't even know where all road is. And if he was an ambassador for the Federation, why didn't he go to the front where he could walk a red carpet and be welcomed by the people who he got to see up there? Why he got to walk across the border defense? When me and you will say, man, let me drive the bus go up, the government bus go up. Let the man who went to dig up them thing that come on the radio and giving people the impression that the government is doing bubble with the passport them. They come talk about that. And let you talk about the rat farm across Liverpool Road. What is a problem to people's health? Because rat is something supposed to be killed. As soon as you see them kill them, don't let them breed. Because the germ is contagious and it flies in the air. So when he want to talk about RU, let him talk about himself. Patches, I know when you was in government, Patches, your government, your Patches, you never promised no Rasta or no drug man, nothing. You never promised them that you're going to let them bring in the weed if they pay you $50,000. You ain't do it. You're a clean man, a good man. That's why everybody could talk about the performance of Ian Patches Liburd. And like one caller said, what you have done in 5 years is what some of them ain't do it in a year now, more in 2 years. And they come talking and trying to undermine you and undermine the government. You ain't work so. Or you go and come again, try your hat in the ring. Because not one eye there could succeed without Patches and the Prime Minister to help you. Patches, good night, so long.
Good night, my dear brother. We go back to the lines.
Yeah, Patches. This is my second do.
So
now, we talking about passport. Who government brought in all those passports with no place about in them? You forget that? Yeah? There was a government in St. Kitts and Nevis here who just left office the other day, right? Who brought in thousands of passports with no place about marking them. That send the whole of the United States and Europe and all of that, and the Caribbean, here while, want to know what's going on in this country. You remember that? You see, so I don't understand when they're talking about passport and passport this and passport that and different things. If the man married the woman, he entitled to some kind of right somehow, but me know how he went about it and how he do it. And me looking into it. Because as the Prime Minister said, the Attorney General and the Chief of Police and them is working on that. So I leave that alone. So they got to pick the beam out of the oil force. You understand me? Me need to mention about Nagadam and Bagadam and Big Dong Man and them kind of thing. You understand me? When they brought in the passport them, with no place about in them, send a big thing to the Europe and the United States and thing that we can't even go to Canada right now unless we go to a lot of performance and all kind of thing in order to get into Canada. So those are the things what they need to look into. You understand me? But God knows He moving mysterious ways and He out and He gonna stay. So He could talk what He want, jump up like a donkey cat, kick up and carry on. He ain't going back in there as a leader. Thank you very much, Patrick. Good night to all of you.
thank you very much as well. And we always have the information, you know, because we straight talk. Remember this. Remember this very well.
I must make reference to remarks made quite recently by Dr. Ken Ballantyne during the recent meeting with Prime Minister Douglas and the service providers of the St. Kitts and Nevis Citizenship by Investment Program. And I recall Dr. Ballantyne reminding Prime Minister Douglas and the stakeholders, service providers at that meeting, that the place of birth from our St. Kitts and Nevis passport was removed at the request of the United States authorities. And I think that is a very important statement which he reminded the Prime Minister of.
And you know, when the U.S. came down on the government, he went and with the same speed, he said this.
On 9th July 2014, in an interview with WinFM, I made reference to a statement made by Dr. Ken Ballantyne on the nationality fields being removed from the St. Kitts and Nevis passports at the request of the United States government. Although the U.S. government was aware of St. Kitts and Nevis's decision to make this change following guidelines from the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, it was not made at their request.
Yes, he told a big lie. But let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. You hear it, the facts on Straight Talk.
Yes. Megan Patches, you know why they ain't want to give up the house then? They say you ain't win no seat. And clever it, the man why he got up the port, he got all kind of business and he want to turn with people because all they work for oil. So I don't know what's going on. Poor people ain't got no money. 360, poor people working for. When you change the money, you can't even pay your mortgage. So you all ease up old people, old black people, because we ain't making it. We are losing and we're losing the touch of all the party them because we need help. Help come on the Lord. And President Patches, Don't worry about Lizzie. Lizzie was the boss at MLC housing. They said they didn't want the deal. So what happened? They're cutting all kind of tape on you. But please play your file down. Because remember you're in the seat and the Prime Minister put it here. So I take my advice and listen. Because me ain't educated like you. But listen, don't put yourself in the board in the house. When they give out the houses them, they give them out. Leave that behind. See you.
Okay, my neighbor Phil. Let's go back to the lines. Call your line.
That is, Megan. Mr. Canton. That is, when I listen to former ministers of government, who was going the former prime minister, and was doing so much of things, and come out and criticize him, and say all manner of things about him. When I listen to them, I want to know now when these people going on radio talk shows and trying to bring down Dr. Harris and the unity government. I want to know if these people forget what I say. And these people who parading up and down tongue so that they won't take the vaccine because their party don't take the vaccine, but they're taking the vaccine and trying to cause confusion and trying to get people to intimidate people to go protest and do all kind of thing. A young girl in a family village. You understand? I know she very vocal, which is political, which is labor, and she and some others went in this way so they're going to protest. But I don't see nothing when they talk about they're going to protest for parties. It's just political ignorance about them. Because parties, if Labour was in government, I tell you, that same young girl and that same gentleman who up and down, parading up and down tongue, talking about vaccine and calling him parading, threatening people and saying all kind of negative thing about people, he don't take the vaccine. Parties are what I say now. I say that who want to take the vaccine, take the vaccine. I ain't no wait for nobody to take the vaccine. I want to say again. Right? Because you got some people never got doctor yet. Never. Some people don't believe in vaccine. Some people don't believe in going doctor. Some people just drink the herbal bush. And I wouldn't agree with the government again, and institution to force nobody to take the vaccine. But that is the law, and then want to go work. Well, that is the right if they want to stop work. Or they could move on to some other places, institution, who know that they won't take the vaccine and they could work. You understand? But touches, this country is us, and make it plain that we, the government, got to do what they got to do to defend this COVID, the coming in the country. We come a long way, and I believe that people of this country won't get there and get back normal, especially in the tourist sector. So the people come here. They got to do what they got to do, and the country will be safe. That is, we have a wonderful day. I want to say good night to my good father down the Jajak. And Saga down the Saga. Good night. Have a wonderful night, touching the God bless. And keep the federation again.
Thank you. We do apologize. Called in a call. Let's go back to the lines. Call your line.
Yes, Matthews. This is Jam down here again. Mr. Liburd, I want to send a client call to Sean K. Richards to focus at what's going on down in the post office. You cannot be moving workers who understand the job from since Miss Carrot and Miss Ferguson and put people who come out, talk people and get position and get rid of Miss Hobson and all of them who understand and work on this job to make the poster look good. Sean, understand what's going on down there. Do not look like the puppy show running these ministries like the rest. You know better. And don't know you don't stand to nonsense. So please, get on to the permanent secretary and understand what's going on down there. That's enough for that. The untouched driver. I and Alice was in the market on Saturday when a young lady, who I know, walk at Scottsboro. She pregnant now. Had to go home. Why a pregnant lady? Why? Regardless of what, some of them saying, oh, she used to miss time to walk, but she's pregnant with a child in she belly and have more children. We cannot be doing them kind of things. This is things we fight against. When it's come with school boys, they know that. Then some of them didn't know around when we up and down barking. This is a problem with me, you know. Patches, I want you to understand that it got some critics on the right moving around, using the social media, talking about Timothy one next. They wouldn't dare try that. And when they were let me see how bad they be to try it, you know. Because asking the security who move around with the Prime Minister, don't play with these kind of things, you know. Do not play with these kind of things, otherwise we're going to let it blame squarely and surely and are you. Because these people in the media, they're up and down tongue talking like they don't care. But when they're ready, let us try that. Let us try that. Because when they bust the Prime Minister head, other people head going to bust too. But just think it. We have a good country here. And we have a good Prime Minister in this country ain't going away, you know. That fella ain't going away. Because me never see a Prime Minister come in this country besides Simmons and run this country like this. You could imagine Simmons went in First Caribbean Bank, where used to name Barclays Bank, and take up $49 million and reclaim land on at Port Zante. And a man come, and the man just getting collude with foreign interests. And even where UDC, who run down there, gonna be paying these foreign interests rent. How we feel? And I talk about you are one country, which coin? Not this coin here when you think it's Nevis. Maybe another one. Before I go, I want to congratulate the Honorable Mark Wanley for putting Cuba in the light, because we have to appeal to the U.S. President Biden to free up Cuba. These people need a life. Free up these people. That is, if you had a chance to see the demonstration in Cuba, Lord, they're getting fed up. Especially this young generation in Cuba. They're getting fed up. And we got to shout them out, and we got to support and rally behind them for them to get back their freeness, man. They need their freedom. We have to shout out. And we got to thank that Bradley to bring it in the mirror. It's a good thing, and we want to see more MPs talk about that, because that's the only how we could break the back of the camel. Patches, have a good night, and be safe. Patches Liburd set the bar very high as a politician in this country, and we will never see another one like him. I want to feel, I have something personal to tell him when I see him in person, but I can't do it on the ear yet, because we're going to let these worms. Have a good day. Have a good night, Patty.
Have a good night, my brother. Jam down. And we go back to the lines. Yes, caller. Are you there, caller? Yes, caller, you're live. You know, we said earlier that where there is any legislation intended to provide protection for personal health information and gives individuals an array of rights with respect to that information, it was never intended to relieve disease-carrying individuals from their responsibility to the greater or wider community, or to prohibit society from protecting itself. Yes, people talk about rights, but the notion of setting aside certain civil liberties when rights are in conflict with widely recognized and accepted both legally and morally. For example, your right to free speech does not give you the right to yell fire, fire in a crowded cinema. Your right to throw a punch if you're fighting hunks or the bumpy. Your right to throw a punch, you're a good boxer, but your punches must just be short of my tip of my nose. You can't box me, but you have a right to box. Caller, you're live. Okay, we seem to have lost a caller. Yes, caller, you're live. Thank you for holding.
Hello? Hello,
yes,
Reverend.
the Bible man.
Yes, man. Well, you see, I have to be a Bible man, and I have to see, watch, and listen, and talk the thing that what is right. Now, in Proverbs chapter 6, I believe it, we talk about people running to innocent blood, people running to mischief, and make discord among brethren and all those things. What I can say to you, the Bible says in, I believe, Proverbs, it says, the heart is deceitful and desolated wicked. The people them who are banged them out now, they used to put their hand in the cookie jar. So now they come put their hand in no cookie jar now. They're frustrated. Now even say when I walk in back there, one of them attacked me. That may do himself to condemn them. Because I don't pay with them enough. Anybody do me any mock. Me not have to go to no lawyer. Me not have to go to no magistrate court. I just go to my maker, and he will deal with them.
Prayer.
You understand what I'm saying to you? And I get remedy many times. People buy mother. You understand? Things that happen. And I'm saying this tonight, Patches. I walk, born in that walk, no weapon that form against this Bible man here will prosper. You think me call me that say God, me mean God. I'm not a joke. And I dead serious. You mess with me, I link up me thing before God. And you will get the recompense. God said vengeance belongs to. And he will be, they don't know who I play with. So let us go ahead. They want walk into them, they want contact. So let us continue. Because the time is coming. They want to say, people walk up upon them. This minute we are. This minute we gone. The word of God in Isaiah, there is no peace to the wicked. The wicked are like a trouble. I see them every day. And every man that hear, they are frustrated like a bean because what they used to get, they don't get it no more. So let it continue. And nobody is going to put their hand in the cookie jar. That belongs to the poor people. The poor people couldn't get nothing. But thank God, God put a unity government there to look after poor people. Mr. President, have a pleasant night. And I see you when you come back to say that by God's grace, I am going to live. By God's grace to see you. Have a pleasant night. Bye.
Have a pleasant night. I look forward to that. Bye. It's 14 before 10 o'clock. We go straight back to the lines. Yes, caller? Are there, caller?
Hello.
Yeah, talk.
Patches, oh, sorry about that, man. Yeah, Patches.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
sir.
Yeah. To those who are of the opinion that the Prime Minister is forcing people to take the vaccine, nothing far goes up. None of the ministers, neither Premier Mark Brantley, the Prime Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister, and no other minister in this federation is forcing anybody to take the vaccine. All they do, they are advising them of the importance of taking the vaccine. Remember when God sent Jonah down to Nineveh to preach against the sin? God never compelled him to, never forced him to go. No, he leave him. But he just make him willing to go. And he went. Well, I'm saying this. The Prime Minister don't have to force nobody to take the vaccine. But death, which nobody wants to face, that alone will make people take the vaccine. Never mind you hear them when the sun is up, laying get them out boasting and fighting against the vaccine. As soon as the sun sets and nobody could see them, they're going to take it and they come back next day again and fighting against the vaccine. So leave them alone. They will come home on their own. When they see that facing them, they go and go quick and take it, but too late shall be the cry. Well, I think I have said enough for the night. And the mattress cut the fellow across the jaw, a rock across the jaw. People just call him the telephone card. Sorry to see that they had to happen that way. But anyway, Patches, you have a good night. Take care of yourself. I'm glad you reached back up. Watch the people around you. Because your neighbor bug cannot stay in the neighborhood and bite you in your house. The neighbor bug have to come out, climb up on the fence, walk on your lodging. And when you carry your lodging and they go down upon them, that's when the neighbor bug gonna bite you. But your own bug, it bite you till suck your blood. Suck all the blood and you're working for the lab. So watch the people who are close to RU. If them that are close to RU, you're going to bring RU information and give them to the enemy. Now everybody with skin back teeth, you smile. A genuine smile, you see it in the person's eye. But a fake smile, watch the teeth them. Teeth them white, but then the eye serious. Like a lion and a tiger. Have a good night, Patrick.
Okay?
Yeah.
Have a good night as well, my brother. You know, there are people among us who believe that their right to remain unvaccinated and roam all about without wearing masks. That they have a right. But let's go back to the lines. Call you live. Yes, caller? Hello, caller? Yes, caller, you're live. Listen to the telephone. Yes, caller? It's 10 before 10 o'clock. We're taking as many calls as we can. You're live, caller. Okay, here's what we haven't received a call, but I was saying there are some people who believe that it is their right to remain unvaccinated and roam all over town without wearing a mask. They have demonstrated their commitment to resist appeals to reason and a better nature. They even do so in the face of the COVID surge that is raging almost exclusively among the unvaccinated. The COVID-19 measures in response to the pandemic, such as stay at home or the mandatory closures of businesses, the closures of churches or the house of worship, also mass mandates, that has really stirred up a vocal opposition within some individuals who feel that their measures infringe upon their freedoms. I mentioned earlier that according to a study I read in the American Journal of Infection Control, that should be, the overall community infection rate declined by about 58% in 48 or 42 US states. And this evidence suggests that these types of public health actions have been effective in reducing the COVID-19 infection rate. And yes, they do constrain individual autonomy. You know, researchers from the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health in Baltimore use state government websites and case counts from the Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security to model the effects of mandatory social isolation on virus mitigation. Nevertheless, COVID measures employed are generally speaking constitutional under existing US Supreme Court precedent. They are also ethical when implemented properly. And I made mention as well of the US Supreme Court decision in the case of Jacobson versus Massachusetts. And that stipulated that while the spirit of the Constitution is to be respected, not less than its letter, the spirit is to be collected chiefly from its words. It further opined that the possession and enjoyment of all rights are subject to such reasonable conditions as may be deemed by the governing authority of the country essential to the safety, health, peace, good order, and morals of the community. I'll take a few more calls at 6 before the 10 o'clock hour. I'll take a few more calls before we wrap. I'll go back to the lines. Are you there, caller? If you're there. But I'll take a few more calls before we wrap tonight, my dear callers. But as I was saying, even liberty itself, the greatest of all rights, is not restricted license to act according to one's own will. You can't do as you like, because you can't do as you like in the name of liberty. You cannot. It is only freedom from restraint under conditions essential to the equal enjoyment of the same right by others. That is what is called liberty regulated by law. I made mention as well of the Constitution of Massachusetts, and that was adopted way back in 1780. It was laid down as a fundamental principle of social compact that the whole people covenants with each citizen, and each citizen with the whole people. That is to say that all shall be governed by certain laws for the common good, and that government is instituted for the common good, for the protection, safety, prosperity, and happiness of the people, and not for the profit, honor, or private interests of any one man, family, or class of men. Even in our own Constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis, it is envisaged that the provisions governing our fundamental rights and freedoms shall have effect for the purpose of affording protection to those rights and freedoms, subject to such limitations of that protection as are contained in those provisions, being limitations designed to ensure that the enjoyment of those rights and freedoms by any person does not affect or impair the rights and freedoms of others and or the public interest. Let's go back to the lines at 4 before 10 o'clock hour. I'll take a few more calls. Caller, you are live.
Patches.
Yes, caller?
I want to let these people know in this country that Timothy is a spiritual guy. And he using the Bible and the church and the pundits them. God ain't like ugly, you know. That man ain't just staying up there and dealing with who got it up there, you know, he coming at the ground. He dealing with people on the ground, poor people. You see where you go? Fix house. Giving the poor and the needy $500. What do you mean? People got this kind of thing over, like over the jacks, eyes them, so they cannot see. The guy is a special child. And don't care what they do. The guy is doing good. And he ain't going nowhere. We've not, no right thinking petition will let Lego that. Because we ain't going back there with them nonsense where we are here. We want a prime minister who could talk to the people. Do not embarrass the people. Don't go and embarrass yourself in public. Talk to people decent. This is what we want. That is before we want to condemn the thing in Gonzalo, you know, because a lot of young people feel like what happening in St. Vincent could happen here, you know. And I'm warning them, you know, don't try it, you know, because it can happen here. We need to condemn them kind of things. Because people on the right feel like it's a booster for them. But they try that because I know you're going to work with Timothy, you know. And I'm asking the chief of police to step on these things swiftly. Swiftly when these things happen. Do not allow these things under your tender. We don't let the blame squarely and surely and I, you know. Have a good night, Patches. This is Jam down here talking, eh?
Have a good night, Jam down. Always assertive, always straight and to the point. I'll perhaps take 2 more calls. I'll fit in 2 more calls if you'll be guided by the rules of brevity, because my time is almost done. And if you joined us late, we spoke tonight about violence against our leaders. Let's take this call, our penultimate call for the night.
Yeah. Since you say you start late and you're going to make up. You don't have to call in here.
You overbound, you know.
Yeah, well, Patches, hear this. Evil thinks as evil does. Some year ago on the political platform, the former leader was accusing our prime minister of some kind of backyard business. You know what I'm talking about? Well, he got to be thinking about that in his heart for that to come out of his mouth, because it's only what inside could come out. And if you know thinking that down the line, when President Obama win the first 4 years in office, you remember he comments what he said? If he was a woman, he will give President Obama wife a run for your money for your husband. Why he should think about that? Evil think as evil does, and he want to put what he think in his heart on other people. Why one God rule this world here, and one God say goes, the out there having a square is one circle, the cigar around all the land. Patches, you have a good night. Thank you for the little 30 seconds.
Have a good night as well. I can squeeze in one more call. One more call. If I count to 5 and you're ready, you come in. Well, I'll give you one opportunity to make your final call. Here's what. That's the way we're going to end it tonight, because my time is done and I got to run. Don't you move your dial. The mayor of St. Paul's is in the house, Theophilus Theo Clark. He comes in right after Straight Talk. But remember, epidemics and or pandemics have a long history. Measures such as quarantines, border controls and limitations on the circulation of citizens or residents have been commonly used to slow down, to delay the transmission of contagious diseases. The political public is what the society does through the government and public agencies. But a group of people called the opposition in St. Kitts Nevis and like in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they remain opposed to or criticize continuously the government or the political party in power. Instead of acting responsibly and educating their own supporters, they incite to commit criminal acts. And it's the hypocrisy of these people that really baffles me. Just like in St. Kitts, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the leader of the opposition admits this. He admits that COVID is a problem.
We do have a problem with respect to COVID. Let's not minimize that. COVID-19 is the biggest problem we have in the country because it affects life, threatens life, affects health. Long COVID is a problem because it's not just a matter that you don't die, but you still can have long-term effects. But it also affects the economy, you know? But because we have a problem doesn't mean that any solution is the right solution. What they're suggesting is the wrong solution because people are just going to stand up and resist it, and it's not going to work because I don't believe as well that as a matter of fundamental rights that you can force somebody to put something into their body.
But that is true. But that particular leader himself took the vaccine. His entire family took the vaccine, but he incites people.
As the leader of the opposition, I have, for my own personal reasons, and because I think it's good for the country overall, been vaccinated, and so is my family. And everybody knows that that is my position. I have come to that decision based on the information that I have researched and so forth, and I recommend other people do similarly.
So if you recommend other people to get vaccinated, why you bring them on the street? Go get them vaccinated. And this is the troubling development in our region. And you will recall, as I said about a month ago, that the Caribbean, or when I should say, the Caribbean was shocked by the senseless or reprehensible act which culminated in the killing of a president. Remember, we all learned about the brutal killing of President Jovenel Moïse, the Haitian president Jovenel Moïse, and the serious wounding of First Lady Martine Moïse. We in the Caribbean are not familiar with physical attacks on our countries. We are not familiar with physical attacks on our leaders, especially with guns or ammunition. Although, yes, we can reflect as Kittitians and divisions way back with the attempted overthrow of a government or what is labeled the Anguilla Rebellion or Anguilla Invasion of 1967. Many of us would also recall a dark moment in our political history when bottles and stones rained down at government headquarters in 1993, and the leader confessed that it was an overthrow. But just a few days ago, the Caribbean learned of the aggravated, malicious wounding of Comrade Ralph Gonzalez, the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But thank God, the 74-year-old leader is still alive today. The Prime Minister of Barbados, as well, must be commended for expeditiously reaching out to Comrade Ralph and airlifting him to Barbados for an MRI and subsequent treatment. I can only hope that what has happened to President Moise and to Prime Minister Ralph Gonzalez a few days ago is not something new creeping into our Caribbean politics, and we must guard against that. We have to guard against this violence in our politics.
The person who threw the object at me, the projectile, that it hit me in my head, at the top of the head. It could easily have come, as the doctors tell me, lower down to the temple, and where there could have been immediately far more serious damage. When you throw a stone or some other projectile at someone with the intention to hit them in their head, and given the delicate nature of one's head, you have in mind the intention to kill. You have the intention to cause serious bodily harm.
As I did before, my Stray Dog family, I reiterate in closing that nothing can justify what we must consider as acts of inhumanity, which we must all condemn if we are going to avoid the collapse of civilization in the Caribbean and or any part of the world for that matter. And we must bring these people to justice. What happened to Prime Minister Gonzalez uncovers the hypocrisy of the opposition here in St. Kitts, there in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Antigua and Barbuda, and elsewhere in the Caribbean, in respect to our COVID-19 recovery efforts. No politician invented the pandemic, but every political opposition wants to blame the incumbent government for the virus. We know, and thank God, that the vaccine rollout is working. Heading hard for 70% in our second doses. I think it's 60.2% to be exact, and 60.5%, and our first doses 72.5%. There's no need to make it mandatory. There's no need to think we are going the way the others are going. But let's face it, when your house is on fire, when your neighbor's house, rather, is on fire, you always want to wet yours. That's the way I'm going to end it tonight, my Stray Dog family, because my time is done and I got to run. But that's my story for tonight, and I am locked into it. All I'm left to do is to thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight, and as always, I want to thank you, the many callers. There's some of you who got in beyond 2 times. Remember, the limit is 2 times. Some people just can't get in. Please, let's cooperate. I want to thank you, the many listeners on social media, Facebook, YouTube. Remember, we are back on YouTube again. So tell your neighbor, tell your friend that we are also back on YouTube again. Just go to Ian Liburd Straight Talk, YouTube, and you're there. It's no longer with ZIZ. It's Ian Patches Liburd Straight Talk. Find that on YouTube. Those of you to listen to ZIZ Radio, the nation station, remember, all of you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that I say thank you. I want to thank our technical cadre at ZIZ, Theophilus Theo Clark, who's at the console in the studio. In the back room, Bevis Bevin Wilkinson. Bevin, I only saw you for a few minutes, but good to see you. John James. Without them and their technical support, there's also no Straight Talk. And for that, I say thank all of you. Remember, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you must believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light and thank Him for taking you through the night. Until we connect on Thursday for another edition of Straight Talk, I say thank you. And in leaving you, I do apologize for my fleeting trip, and I had to scurry back home. But surely we will meet again, God's willing. So, be good to yourselves and all whom you meet. Have the best of what's left of tonight and keep moving on. See you on Thursday, my Straight Talk family. Bye-bye.
In the morning, I thank God for the morning light. Give Him thanks and praises for taking me safely through the night. For the rest of food and loving care, and for my mother's breath of life that's got me here. So whatever my mind conceives, that I will achieve, you better believe, because I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could, so I'll keep moving.
Partner, how you doing? Where you been these days?
I've been on the family land. I cut back all the trees and them and burn the bush, and planting some crops. I just here in town getting more fertilizer and a pump to pull up the water from the river.
Wait, so all the bush and the trees gone?
If you see crops, it's like I growing money.
But you use the land stabilization techniques and have approval to take the river water, right?
Approval? The river is on my property, and land, is my land.
Partner, the land is still the island. It's all of we have to live here. The soil runoff will silt up the river. The fertilizer will grow weeds and cause flood when season start. Plus the water resources for everyone, not just your crop. You don't realize the climate is changing?
Look, I don't care about all of that. It's my land, my crops, and my water. No one can tell me what to do.
This is our land, and climate change is changing the challenges we face as a nation. Land management technique, water resource protection, and flood and drought mitigation is for everyone who lives on this land. Our island. Be a part of the change. A message of hope from Island Resilience, promoting a climate of change.
This is my land, my island, our home. It's time to come together to keep her forever resilient and strong.
Island Resilience, promoting a climate of change. The Climate Change Adaptation and Sustainable Land Management Initiative of the OECS Commission, funded by the European Union.
Go to islandresilience.org for more information, or follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Hi, I am Mickey Stokes. Join me every Tuesday night from 8 until 12 on ZRZ Radio for National Showcase. It's 4 hours of the best in local music as we feature the songs, singers, and bands of St. Kitts and Nevis. Join us and enjoy a better mix of local music every Tuesday night from 8 until 12 with yours truly, Mickey Stokes.
Every Saturday from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. ZIZ Radio goes into overdrive with the Magic Fingers Ronnie Rascal Mega Mix Show. You heard? Lock your dial to 96.1 FM. It's the show that brings the vibes to your Saturday afternoon lime, bar hopping, party hangouts, or just driving around. You don't want to miss the Saturday Mega Mix Show. You don't want to miss the Saturday Mega Mix show. It's old school and new school remixes by yours truly, Magic Fingers, Ronnie Rascal, every Saturday from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. ZIZ Radio.
Working for you. A weekly talk radio program which highlights developments of national interest and the activities of your St. Kitts Nevis government. Join host Lesroy Williams as he presents news, views, reports, and interviews about everything regarding the activities of the Team Unity government and the building of our communities and the development of St. Kitts Nevis. Tune in and call in to interact with your government and share your views regarding the upward forward development of your community and our beautiful Twin Island Federation. Working for you is weekly, every Wednesday live from 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. on ZIZ Radio, Win FM, and Sugar City FM with rebroadcast on participating stations. Working for you.
Power Talk, Skellett's new electrifying 15-minute radio program, features on ZIZ every first Wednesday of each month. Tune in for the latest information on what's happening at Skellett. Learn more about doing business with us and the services we offer. Power Talk, powered by Skellett.
Every first and third Wednesday at 9:30 a.m.
Whether it's a dress store on 4th Street, a snacket in Kayon, or a village grocery in St. Paul's, our small businesses play an important role in our economy. By supporting these businesses, you are helping to create or keep a job or two and to revive our economy. Support our local small businesses. Buy local and keep the doors to our small businesses open. This message is brought to you by ZIZ in support of our small businesses across the Federation. 6 decades of togetherness in radio. ZIZ, the cornerstone and foundation of broadcasting.
The Golden Voice of the Nation celebrates 60 years of service to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
ZIZ Radio, sustaining its long legacy of service in the local, regional, and global media industry. ZIZ Radio, communicator, educator, and entertainer for 60 years.
Building on our legacy, ZIZ at 60.
This message is for every business owner in St. Kitts and Nevis. Jumpstart your business and set yourself apart from your competitors with an advertising solution from ZIZ Radio, ZIZ Television, or Big Wave. The Advertising Solutions Department at ZIZ prides itself on providing client-focused advertising solutions that make sense for all local businesses. Don't use the excuse that you can't afford to advertise. Call us at 465-2621. We will sit with you, discover your needs, and design a solution that fits your budget. Advertising works, and with ZIZ, it works even better for your business.
Water is life, 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 life. Water is life, 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 life. Do just one thing, just one thing.
Every job come, make sure you check for leaks around your house every day. Every job come, when brushing your teeth, don't let the water run away. Come save the water, preserve the water right now. Every job come, save the water whenever you take in your shower. Every job come, make saving the water your business every hour. The water, the water, the water, the water right now. It's up to me and you and you and you and you. The water right now.
Do just one thing.
Yeah. I know we can make it. It's only just a phase. Once we're vaccinated, and everybody gonna be safe. Everybody gonna be safe. One kind, yeah. One people. We are roll up to roll up, yeah. Cause no man's alone. Do what's right, alright. Cause I love you, and we're in this together. My sister, my brother.